Hi, everyone. Welcome to another segment of BBB Trust Talk 2021. My name is Carla Laird, and I'm with the Better Business Bureau. With me is Perna Sharma from the BBB as well.
Hi, everyone.
And my final introduction is Taz Rajan, our special guest for today's session, who you will hear more from shortly.
Hello, thank you.
So just to bring you all up to speed, BBB Trust Talk is a special limited interview series by the Better Business Bureau as part of our Small Business Month celebrations. Throughout the various conversations, we will be connecting with BBB accredited businesses across the country to learn more about them, their small business journeys, and how we can continue to support them as they actively serve consumers and keep our country's economy alive. So without further ado, let's get started with today's Trust Talk conversation as we get to learn more about the business in today's spotlight, Bromwich and Smith. Taz, why don't you start off by introducing yourself and telling us more about the business?
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love this series with the BBB. So of course, my name is Taz Rajan. I'm the community engagement partner at Bromwich and Smith, licensed insolvency trustees. So in my role, I get to do a lot of this. I get to be on different webinars. I do media. I do a lot of, in-person training when we are live and in person. I build our referral partnerships. And I'm really active in the community, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Bromwich and Smith is, like I said, licensed insolvency trustees. We are helping to normalize the conversation of debt. We help Canadians that are overwhelmed by debt, and we are just about right across the nation, but we can talk about that a little bit later as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So what products and services do you offer?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because there can sometimes be confusion out there in terms of like, what is a licensed insolvency trustee versus some of the other options that are out there, debt consolidation, credit counseling. So at Bromwich and Smith, as licensed insolvency trustees, we are the only Canadian legislated, body that can offer debt forgiveness to Canadians. And the two programs that we offer that through is consumer proposal and bankruptcy. And it sounds so scary, but really they are not scary. We're very fortunate as Canadians that we have the right to restructure. We have the right to have our debts forgiven, and only a licensed insolvency trustee can actually help out with that.
Oh, nice. That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Now, what are some signs to consider to help someone determine if they need debt counseling or support?
Yeah, that's a really great question too. And I think it's our human condition. Quite often what we do is we wait until it is so bad, right? Like until we're like, can't function, and then we go see the doctor finally. And so quite often, that's what we do with our debt. We think we have to wait until, we're about to lose our home. And I want to say, don't wait, as soon as you start to feel, I talk about the 7 warning signs that your debt is starting to be overwhelming. If it's affecting your job, if it's affecting your relationship, you can't sleep at night, and you're maybe having other emotional, physical, or mental reactions to your debt. Right. If the credit collectors are calling, but don't wait until then. Honestly, the minute it starts to feel like it's creeping up, a phone call is all it takes. And you're going to be met by really empathetic, non-judgmental debt relief specialists that are just going to walk you through, okay, let's ask a few questions. Let's figure out what your situation is, and let's give you what all of your options are. What are the consequences of each option? And then you just feel empowered to choose the option that is best for you.
Yeah, and in that case, you feel like, okay, so this is not the end of it all. There is a solution out there. So that's
exactly
great. Great. So can you share a little bit about what makes your business unique when compared to others in the industry?
Absolutely. It's something I'm really passionate about talking about, actually.
We can see that.
So like I said, licensed insolvency trustees, they are federally legislated, right? So all trustees offer consumer proposals and bankruptcies. All licensed insolvency trustees are officers of the court. What I think that really sets Bromwich and Smith apart is that we have come up with these core values, and they're not just this pretty thing that sits on a wall. You know, our core values are lived, you know, every day. They are very much alive. All of our business decisions are made through those core values. You know, we fought for the rights of our clients to put money back in their back in their pockets. You know, we live by those values. We're, like I said, we're very approachable. You know, you'll see that we are very active on social media, and you know, we share our own debt stories, and you'll see some of the silly stuff we do on social media as well. But really, really being very client-centric, focusing on those values of integrity, of building that trust, of treating people with grace and respect. So, you know, when you call Bromwich and Smith, it's not like that stuffy kind of like, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm gonna get, you know, yeah, it's not that feeling at all. It's a lot more like what we're doing right here, right now.
Nice. I like that. And it sounds like, I guess we'll get to that point soon with about accreditation, but I see some of those values lining up very, well, perfectly with some of our own standards of trust as well. So that's good to know.
You bet. You bet.
So talking about small businesses, it's Small Business Month. And one of the unique things that I like about Bromwich is the fact that you guys transitioned. You started out small and you've now, you know, had multiple operations across the country. But what we've noticed is that many small businesses stay small, but not your organization. And in fact, you have about 21 locations across 4 provinces. So what has led to that national growth over the last, I think, 18 years?
Yeah, and actually you just at the end there, I feel like you've just said it, that it wasn't something that happened overnight, right? I think sometimes as small businesses, we feel like, oh, you know, we need to expand, we need to grow. And sometimes we can do that too quickly as well, right? So it has been over a period of time. We always had in our vision statement that we would be nationally recognized as, you know, where people go to for debt help, but we did do it gradually and slowly. And there was, you know, creating that strong foundation, having that system in place, making the business such that it could be scalable. And then again, like I said, because we're licensed, you know, we need trustees that are licensed in each province. And so, you know, it was very, very strategic. It was a long-term vision. And really, I think, you know, sometimes as a business owner too, you've got to go back to your why. Like, why do we want to expand? And for Bromwich and Smith, it's because we want to serve even more Canadians. So, you know, just staying local to Calgary or Alberta wasn't allowing us to serve all those other people with our values and our unique, you know, proposition. And so, yeah, I would say, you know, for someone who's like on the fence, you know, definitely like have that vision, be sure that you understand your why, and you've got to have a really good, strong foundation to build that expansion on.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good takeaway. As a small business owner, there might be the vision to go big, and maybe based on what your business structure is about, even the industry that you're in, going big might not be the best strategy for that business. So it's good to know, you know, there are avenues to explore, but you need to just figure out which one works for you and then work with a strategy and take it one step at a time. Because see, it took 18 years for some, and it might take 3 years for others. So yeah.
Yeah, you bet.
The timeline matters as long as your business is going as per your goals as well, right? So that's great to hear. Now I'd like to understand, because you know, your company has grown so much over the last 18 years. What would you say has contributed to the endurance and success of your business?
One of our values is that we embrace change for the betterment of all stakeholders.
Nice.
And we live that, you know, I mean, change is really the only constant. So things like, you know, we're going to talk about it, I think later, but, you know, with this pandemic, there were so many changes in process, in, you know, how do we protect our people and how do we protect our clients? And so being able to, you know, since that's one of our values, you know, we're very much like, hey, when change happens, we embrace it. We don't fight it. We work through it. Always staying true north, always sticking with, you know, what are our guiding principles? What are our guiding values? And still making every business decision through that lens, and embracing the growth, embracing that change. And again, like I was saying earlier, it's been a steady growth. It hasn't been super fast. Our hiring practices that, we have such an amazing team that has definitely contributed to our endurance and our success. And our clients are phenomenal, and they are, sharing, they're engaging with us. And that also helps to build that success and that endurance for sure.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I don't even think we should wait any longer. Let's actually talk about it. What the changes that had to take place and you embracing that change. And the pandemic put pretty much every business across the world, I think, into a position where they had to decide if they wanted to pivot or embrace change. So what was that like for your company?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, at Bromwich and Smith pre-pandemic, everybody worked in an office, whatever city you were in, and especially at our head office in Calgary, it was a big bustling office. And there really wasn't this idea of remote work, working from home, any of that sort of thing. And very, very quickly, we needed to send everybody home. So, there were changes to IT and making sure everybody's got, the IT requirements that they need to be able to work from home. There were a few people that remained in the office. And so, directional arrows, and, we really amped not just our cleaning, but our sanitizing protocols, putting plexiglasses between the cubicles. And so they actually restructured all our cubicles so they're taller. And then they've got glass at the top. So it's almost a little more like an office, and then spacing it out. We actually took on another floor. So then, again, you've got more separation, right? Less people on each floor. Like I said, getting the workforce from home. And, we also made some changes for our clients for their safety as well. So it was a big, big pivot, but we did it. And we did it. I felt like we did it so well, actually.
That's good to hear, because
that's great.
It sounds very similar to what we did at our BBB office too, Perna. People having to leave at the drop of a hat, learning set up and getting IT set up on our end as well. So the story definitely sounds similar for sure where that has taken place. But from now that things are starting to reopen, are things the same, or what do you see from a long-term standpoint?
Yeah. So, one of the things, again, that, embracing change, we already were poised to start, video signing and video counseling for our clients. And then the pandemic hit and it was like, yay, it's good to go. Yes. So, lots of changes that are here to stay, which I think, again, are so positive. HR has allowed, staff were able to choose, do you want to be back at the office? Do you want to work remote, or do you want to be hybrid? So really giving that choice to our, the people, right? Video signing is not going away. So this way, there are people that are dealing with their debt that maybe work up north for 2 weeks. They're in town at their home for 1 week. You have to do laundry. You want to see your family. You've got so much to do. The last thing you want to do is drive downtown and meet with a trustee. So, video signing is not going away. The sanitizing, the plexiglass, all of that is actually staying. And I think that's a really great way to be able to move forward.
Absolutely. I understand, because we're also in the middle of either going back to office or doing like a hybrid situation.
Right.
And I think everyone's adapted so well. And also offices can save that time, and rather invest in their employees, right? So that's
looking for the silver lining, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Let's talk about your company's association with the Better Business Bureau. Now, why did Bromwich and Smith choose to become BBB accredited?
I mean, guys, is that even a question?
Yeah. I like this though.
We know. We'd like our consumers to know.
Yes. You know what? We have always felt that the Better Business Bureau for us, it's like, it's the gold standard of trust, of integrity, of, consumers feeling safe actually to do business. Not all businesses, are legitimate. Not all business practices are, positive and consumer friendly, and, even honestly, legal or trustworthy, right? So becoming accredited allows anybody that's sort of seeking out, where do I go? Who do I turn to for debt help, to see, hey, Bromwich and Smith is A+ rated with Better Business Bureau. I don't know about other people, but one of the first things I do when I'm entering into a business relationship is I check if they are accredited on BBB, and I check what are their reviews, what is their rating, like, is this a company I want to be able to do business with? So of course it was important for us at Bromwich and Smith with our values to be sure that we're aligned with an organization that tells people, hey, this is somebody that you can trust and this is why.
Yeah, I like that for sure. Yeah, that's definitely the message we want to be sending to people, and the habit that we want to be developing with people as well too. And you mentioned the fact that the importance of trust and aligning with those values. So based on the line of the business, which is where you're providing debt support for consumers and for clients, why would you say trust is important where that comes in?
Right. Well, we believe trust, building trust is a pursuit that really never ends, right? So trust can be given, but for it to be kept, you continually need to be earning that trust, right? By not compromising on your commitment to truth and honesty in every interaction, right? Delivering unfortunate news with grace and empathy is just as important as delivering positive news with enthusiasm and that shared expression. So a core value at Bromwich and Smith is that we strive to earn the trust of our stakeholders with every interaction we have with them. And trust is super important when we're talking about our own finances. I mean, that is we're so tied to our money. There's so many emotions that are tied to it. Our identity is tied to it. So of course, we're constantly striving to earn that trust in the initial phone call, in your meeting, in all of our marketing that we do. It's very, very strategic and very well thought out. We never put claims out there that are outrageous, that are not realistic. In any of the work that we do, it is about earning trust, and earning trust many times it's really about it's not about you. It's about that person. It's about them feeling comfortable. It's about them feeling that this is, honest and accurate. And yes, I feel that I can trust this person. I feel that I can talk to this person. So it can look different as well, depending on who it is that you're building that trust with.
Yeah. And, you just saying that reminds me of some of those many different scam stories that we've seen, and the complaints that come in from time to time from consumers that were trying to get debt support and just stumbled into someone or a scammer that was literally just trying to take advantage of them and putting them in a worse off situation, where they spent money thinking that they were going to get a solution to their debt, that kind of thing. So as you rightfully said, finances and money and all of the emotions and the identity and all of the issues and the connections that come with that, it's a big risk. So I really love that you're saying, as a consumer, you want to get a sense that this business is doing everything that they can to give you the sense of confidence, to give you that trust. And if you're not getting that, I think you said it perfectly, Taz. If you're not getting that, then it's definitely a reason to, put up a red flag and say, what's going on with this interaction?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So as someone who is a member of our accredited business community, and you clearly, live by all the standards of trust that BBB looks for in a business. So I'd like to understand, what would you say to a business owner who might be on the fence about getting accredited?
Well, I think it's like anything. I would never just say, oh my gosh, just do it. I would say, absolutely do your research, do a little bit of research, look into, maybe talk to a couple other accredited business owners, get on the BBB website. You guys offer so many tools and so much information on, hey, what do I get? What are the benefits of me becoming an accredited business, right? So read through that, talk to someone at the Better Business Bureau. You guys are so approachable, so easy to talk to. And I find, just like us, you're not pushy. You're not going to tell somebody what to do. You're going to, here are the facts. Here's what I would recommend. And then make that empowered decision on your own. But again, put on your consumer hat for a moment, not just your business hat, and think about what value would being a BBB accredited business provide to my clients and my potential clients, you know?
Right.
You guys are doing some great things now, actually, to even put the word out there about your accredited businesses. You know, if we choose to do some of the advertising that BBB is offering, or even in, you know, your e-newsletter. So even that, you know, if it's sort of like maybe you're a small business, maybe the finances are tight, have a look at, again, what are the benefits that would come from that? But at the end of the day, of course, you've got to do what's best for you. But do the research. I would say, like, don't just shy away. This is what happens quite often with debt. People just don't call. They just don't get the answers. They just sort of shy away and go, it's too much to handle, and I'm sure nobody can help me, right? Yeah. So I would say, don't do that with BBB. Don't just assume I can't afford it, or it's probably going to be no value to my business. Check it out, do the research, and then make that really informed decision is what I'd say.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're winding things down. And so now that we've talked about almost everything, I think. So let's talk a little bit about Bromwich's community involvement. So how does the business contribute towards or even help to develop the different communities that you serve?
This is my favorite question. I'm so glad we got to it. Because if you recall, my title is Community Engagement Partner.
Yes.
So I mean, that right there, the fact that the company has a dedicated community engagement partner, I think that tells you a little bit about that commitment to community, right? It's a very strong value for us. We always say that we live and work in the communities that we serve. So, you know, any of our trustees in these 21 different, you know, locations, they're part of your, you know, the same community. So, you know, we partner with an organization in Calgary. It's called Aspire, and it is, a conglomeration sort of nonprofit and other financial institutions. And that goal is on financial coaching and financial literacy for all Calgarians, right? We, you know, have webinars, live events when they're possible. We're on panels. We're really passionate about educating Canadians and normalizing this conversation. TV, radio, social media, you see us out there in the community that way. We've worked with local food banks, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Pride in Toronto, as well as in Vancouver. We do the CIBC Run for the Cure. We are members of, you know, various chambers and various BBB locations. So, I mean, we're there. We are definitely in the community. And it's not so much giving back to the community. It's really being engaged in the community. We are part of that community, right?
Yeah. I mean, I clearly see the difference there because, you know, there are organizations who contribute and, in one way, basically, but to be really in the middle of the community and to empower everyone as a whole, definitely hats off to you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. We live, breathe, and eat this stuff. So it's real.
That's exactly why we have you on the show as well. Great.
Thank you.
I'd like to understand how does Bromwich and Smith help to ensure its products and services are accessible to everyone out there?
Well, that's a really good question. So, in terms of accessibility, like I said, we do offer the video signing now. We do have, if it's a language barrier, we have interpreters that can come in or be on the phone. Our office buildings are accessible in terms of any physical limitations there may be. And I think, again, the biggest thing about accessibility quite often, why we don't access something is because we're not even aware of it or aware of how it's going to help us, right? You think about, my parents were immigrants, and you think about being a brand new immigrant. Most countries don't even have debt forgiveness. It's not a thing. Most countries don't even have credit. So first you get yourself in trouble with the credit, but then, you don't even know that this thing exists. So I feel like, I think often when we talk about accessibility, we may be talking about, certain limitations with physical disabilities or abilities and things like that. But I think we need to even think about the idea about, accessible means that I know about it. I know that it exists and I know how it's going to help me or my family or the people that I know. And I feel that we do a really great job. I think we have room to grow, but, we're really trying to get out there to let people know that as a Canadian, you have access to this program. You have a right to this, So I think that's one of the things that I think Bromwich is doing really well in terms of accessibility.
I would have to agree. And I think this is a perfect segue into what I like to call the final question that is of the most importance, because it's how people know where to access everything that Bromwich has to offer. So we know about the BBB business profile already. And if you ever want to find a Bromwich location near you, we can check BBB. It lists all the 21 locations across the country. But if there is, another way that they could find you, how can they access Bromwich and everything Bromwich has to offer? Where can they go?
So many ways. Okay. Number one, of course, our website, www.bromwichandsmith.com. It is so full of so many great blogs. Our YouTube channel is really, really just packed with information. So I would say our website is number one. We are on all the social channels. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. If you look up Bromwich and Smith, or if you go to our website, you'll be able to see all of our social handles. And then, of course, like you said, the BBB profile, but often BBB events, BBB like speaking engagements. We're very, very active with the Better Business Bureau. So you can definitely find us there. And then in the media as well, you will see us on CTV Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and we're on a lot of the radio stations, but probably you want to start at www.bromwichandsmith.com. And then we do have just one toll-free number for all of our locations, and that's 1-855-884-9243, and that'll get you through to an empathetic, debt relief specialist that's going to walk you through the process and walk you off that ledge, really.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Well, thank you so much. This is so great. I love that the BBB is doing this. It's so fun.
This is one of our most exciting, series that we developed for our Small Business Month in October. So it's honestly our pleasure to have you over. So just like that, we've reached the end of our session. Now, before we let you go, Taz, we've enjoyed having you here. So thank you so much for taking the time. Now, before we end the session, do you have something to say?
Just thank you. I want to thank the BBB for all the work that you do in the community, all the support that you provide small businesses, and that you are keeping the torch of trust burning. So thank you.
Awesome.
Great. Anyway, so thank you so much for taking the time, and on behalf of Carla and I, thanks so much to everyone out there who caught this episode of the Trust Talk, and we'll see you again hopefully next week for another segment of the BBB Trust Talk. And on behalf of the Better Business Bureau and Bromwich and Smith, I'd like to wish all the small and medium businesses out there, rather all the businesses out there, a very happy Small Business Month. Take care and stay safe, and we'll see you again shortly. Thank you.